Deep beneath an alien desert, monstrous creations awaken, plunging humanity into a battle for survival. A seasoned soldier and a brilliant scientist must forge an uneasy alliance to unravel the ancient technology that could save them. As they delve deeper, the cost of discovery becomes terrifyingly clear. Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and share your comments about the exciting end of the story. Curse of the Hybrids. Let the story begin. The planet Zigara was silent, its barren landscape stretching endlessly under a bruised sky. Dark, towering rocks cast long shadows over ancient ruins, the relics of a civilization lost to time. Dust storms occasionally whipped through the air, carrying whispers of secrets buried beneath the sands. It was in this desolate setting that a coalition military dig team made camp, their equipment humming with life amid the stillness. Captain Marcus Trent stood at the edge of the dig site, surveying the scene with a keen eye. His rugged face, marked by years of battle, remained steadfast as soldiers and scientists worked tirelessly. Dr. Voss, he called, spotting the head scientist hunched over an excavation drone. She looked up, her piercing blue eyes meeting his. Dr. Ilara Voss was a stark contrast to the bleak surroundings, sharp-minded, with an air of mystery that clung to her like the Zigara dust. "Captain," she acknowledged, pushing back a strand of hair, "we've made significant progress. The ruins are unlike anything we've encountered before." "Anything dangerous we should know about?" Marcus asked, ever the cautious leader. "Potentially," Ilara admitted, her voice steady but tinged with excitement. "The Glythorians were known for their advanced bioengineering. We might be unearthing something groundbreaking." Marcus frowned. Groundbreaking often meant dangerous. He turned his attention to the rest of the team. Private Lee and Corporal Jenkins were setting up perimeter defenses, their faces masked in determination. Further away, Lieutenant Harris was coordinating the logistics, ensuring the team's supplies were secure. The sun dipped lower, casting an eerie glow over the ruins. Marcus walked over to the excavation site where Dr. Voss and her team were gathered around a large metallic structure half buried in the sand. Strange symbols etched into its surface pulsed faintly. "It's responding to the scans," Ilara said, her voice hushed. "This could be the key to understanding Glythorian technology." Marcus's instincts prickled. "Be careful," he warned. "We don't know what we're dealing with." Suddenly the ground trembled. A low rumble emanated from the structure, growing louder and more intense. Marcus drew his weapon, eyes scanning the horizon for threats. The team staggered back, alarm spreading like wildfire. "What's happening?" Marcus demanded. Ilara's face paled. I'm not sure. It's as if something's waking up." A deafening roar shattered the air. From the depths of the ruins, monstrous figures emerged. Chimeras, grotesque hybrids of various alien species, their bodies an amalgamation of claws, tentacles, and armored plating. Eyes glowing with malevolent intelligence fixed on the team. "Fall back!" Marcus ordered, firing at the nearest chimera. The bullets barely slowed it down. The camp erupted into chaos. Soldiers scrambled to defend their position, but the chimeras moved with terrifying speed and precision. Marcus's heart pounded as he fought, each shot a desperate attempt to buy time. "Captain, we need to retreat," Lieutenant Harris yelled over the din. "Dr. Voss, get your team out of here!" Marcus shouted, backing towards the transports. Ilara nodded, rallying her scientists. As they retreated, the chimeras pursued, relentless and unstoppable. Marcus felt a cold dread settle in his chest. They had stirred something ancient and deadly, and now survival was their only priority. In the chaos, Marcus locked eyes with the chimera commander, a larger, more menacing figure that seemed to command the others. Its gaze was chilling, a promise of further death and destruction. Marcus turned and ran, leading his team to the transports. The battle was just beginning, and Zigara's secrets were far more deadly than any of them had imagined. But they had no choice but to fight, to survive, to make it through the night. Marcus hunched in the makeshift command tent, the weak glow of a portable light casting flickering shadows on his weathered face. The air smelled of burnt machinery and the tangy, metallic scent of blood. Scrublands stretched in all directions, giving no comfort or cover. His team had managed to find a small canyon to regroup, but the tension in the air was palpable. Across from him, Dr. Elara Voss was examining a fragment of the Glythorian structure they had recovered before the ambush. Her brow was furrowed in concentration. "We're dealing with something far beyond our usual scope," she finally said, not looking up. "Beyond the usual dangerous, you mean?" Marcus replied, his voice edged with fatigue. "What do we know about these chimeras?" "Not much yet," Elara admitted, "but their design is precise, targeted. They seem to have no natural weaknesses." "Not what I wanted to hear," muttered Private Lee, who was cleaning his weapon nearby. His hands trembled slightly, a sign of the battle's toll. "What I found intriguing," Elara continued, "is that these creatures are programmed. Their responses were almost mechanical. There's a central command structure, likely what we saw leading them." "The commander," Marcus said, standing up and pacing. "We have to figure out how to take it down. It's the only chance we have to survive." Lieutenant Harris entered the tent, wiping sweat from his brow. "Perimeter's secure for now, Captain. No sign of the chimeras, but that could change any minute." "Good, we need a plan," Marcus said, tapping the table in the middle of the tent. "Ideas?" Dr. Voss interjected. "We need time to understand this," she insisted, holding up the fragment. "There's something in the Glythorian tech. A weapon, maybe. If we can find it, we might be able to neutralize the chimeras." Marcus's eyes narrowed. "What do we need to do?" "Based on the inscriptions, there's another site. An ancient Glythorian armory," Elara explained. "It's risky, but it might have what we need." "Risky is putting it mildly," Corporal Jenkins commented, entering the tent with 2 cups of steaming liquid. "But sitting here waiting to be picked off isn't much better." "Our only option," Marcus confirmed. "We move at first light." The team slept in shifts, the night air biting and the silence unnerving. As dawn broke, they set out toward the coordinates Elara had deciphered. Marcus led, his eyes constantly scanning for threats. The terrain grew more hostile, jagged rock formations and deep ravines marking their path. Hours passed in tense silence until they finally came upon the entrance to the armory. It was half-buried, ancient doors covered in strange symbols. Elara approached, her fingers tracing the lines with reverence. "Stand back," she said, adjusting a device she had brought along. A beam of light scanned the symbols, and the doors shuddered open, revealing a dark passageway leading deep underground. The team moved cautiously into the armory. The walls were lined with ancient weapons and devices, all covered in dust. Elara's eyes sparkled with scientific curiosity, but Marcus remained on edge. "Over here," Elara called, pointing to a large device in the center of the room. "This matches the descriptions. It's a bioelectromagnetic pulse generator. It should be able to disable the chimeras, but only if we can get it working." Harris examined the device. "This looks ancient," he said doubtfully, "but sturdy. We need to adapt it to our power sources." "Let's hope it works," Marcus said. "We only get one shot at this." As they began to work on the device, the ground suddenly shook with the familiar rumble of approaching chimeras. Time was running out. They had to make a stand, here and now, and the success of their mission depended on the ancient Glythorian weapon that lay before them. Marcus gripped his rifle tighter as the walls of the Glythorian armory vibrated with the approaching menace. Sweat trickled down his temple, but his focus was unwavering. The team had encircled the bioelectromagnetic pulse generator, their expressions grim. "Private Lee, secure the entrance," Marcus ordered, his voice steady despite the rising tension. "On it, Captain," Lee replied, quickly moving to stack debris near the door. Elara knelt by the device, her fingers deftly adjusting ancient circuits. Lieutenant Harris stood ready, his eyes darting between the entrance and the generator. "Got it powered," Harris announced, his face lit by the device's ghostly glow. "But I can't promise it'll work as intended." "Let's hope the Glythorians knew their stuff," Marcus said, nodding. "Dr. Voss, how much time do you need to set this thing off?" "Minutes, maybe less. Just keep them off me until then," Elara replied, her focus unbreakable. A piercing shriek echoed through the underground chamber, heralding the arrival of the chimeras. Claws scraped against stone, and glowing eyes appeared in the dim light, radiating malice. "Contact!" Jenkins shouted, opening fire. The first chimera lunged forward, its tentacles writhing. Bullets tore into its flesh, but the creature barely slowed. Marcus and his team held their ground, their firepower creating a deadly barrier. "We need more time," Elara yelled over the din. Marcus gritted his teeth, firing with precision. Each shot was aimed to buy precious seconds. "Harris, cover her!" he commanded. Harris nodded, moving to shield Ilara as she worked. Private Lee and Corporal Jenkins fought valiantly, but the chimeras kept coming. Their sheer numbers were overwhelming. One chimera broke through, leaping towards Ilara. Marcus acted on instinct, tackling the creature mid-air and wrestling it away from the generator. Tentacles wrapped around his arm, but he managed to pull free with a well-placed stab. "Hurry!" Marcus urged, pushing the creature back and delivering a decisive shot to its head. More chimeras swarmed, their leader, the chimera commander, stepping forward with a terrifying roar. "Ready?" Ilara suddenly called out, her voice rising above the chaos. "Now!" Marcus shouted. "Everyone back!" Ilara activated the generator, and a blinding pulse erupted from the device, washing over the chamber. The chimeras convulsed, their monstrous forms freezing, then collapsing as the pulse disrupted their neural functions. The chimera commander's eyes flickered with rage before its body fell, motionless. Silence descended on the armory, the only sound the team's heavy breathing. Marcus looked around, assessing the scene. The chimeras lay inert, their threat neutralized for now. "We did it," Harris said, his voice a mix of relief and exhaustion. "Captain," Ilara said softly, standing up and dusting herself off. "The generator worked, but it's spent. We won't get another pulse out of it." Marcus nodded, understanding the implication. Their victory was temporary. The chimeras might send reinforcements, or worse, other alien races could come looking for the Glithorian technology. "Let's move out," Marcus said, rallying his team. "We need to get this information back to command, and we better be ready for whatever comes next." As they exited the armory, the desolate landscape of Zagara greeted them once more. Marcus glanced at Ilara, whose determination matched his own. They had faced an ancient terror and survived, but their journey was far from over. The universe was vast, filled with unknown dangers and challenges yet to come. Under the slate-gray sky of Zagara, the team trudged back towards their camp, battle-worn but resolute. The desert was an unforgiving place, and the silence after the battle felt almost out of place. Marcus's mind churned with the day's events and the daunting tasks that lay ahead. "Captain, we've been compromised," Private Lee said, breaking the stillness as they approached the perimeter of their camp. Smoke curled up from the remains of their tents, and supplies were scattered haphazardly. "Looks like the chimeras got here before us," Harris noted, his face hardening as he scanned the wreckage. Marcus signaled for his team to spread out and secure the area. He approached Dr. Voss, who was already examining the damage. "Ilara, can you make any sense of this?" "Captain," she began, her voice carrying a calm steadiness. "The chimeras left in a hurry. They weren't here to destroy. They were looking for something." "Or someone," Marcus said, glancing at the horizon as a distant shape caught his eye. The chimera commander. It had survived, far off but watching them, calculating its next move. "We need to draw it in, finish this for good," he determined. "But we need a plan." Ilara nodded, looking thoughtful. "We could use the terrain to our advantage. If we lure them into one of the ravines, the walls could act as a barrier." "Perfect," Marcus agreed. He called his team together and laid out the plan. "We'll set up explosives at strategic points. When the chimeras come for us, we trigger the traps and collapse the walls on top of them." "I'll rig the charges," Jenkins volunteered, his hands already busy unpacking the explosives. Meanwhile, Harris took charge of fortifying their position, ensuring everyone knew their roles. Hours ticked by as they prepared. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the camp. Marcus stood at the edge of the ravine, the weight of command heavy on his shoulders. He turned to Ilara, who was checking her portable scanner. "You all right, Dr. Voss?" he asked, a rare moment of quiet between them. She gave a small smile. "We're up against impossible odds, but if anyone can pull this off, it's your team." The distant growl of engines broke the brief reprieve. The chimeras were coming. "Positions, Marcus barked, adrenaline surging through his veins. The team moved swiftly, taking cover behind rocks and along the edges of the ravine. Within moments, the chimeras surged into sight, led by their relentless commander. "Wait for my signal," Marcus instructed, watching as the creatures advanced. The tension was palpable. Just as the first wave of chimeras entered the ravine, Marcus gave the order. "Now!" Explosions ripped through the air, reverberating through the stone and sand. The walls of the ravine crumbled, trapping the chimeras beneath tons of rubble. Dust and debris filled the air, making it hard to breathe or see. The chimera commander, however, had avoided the initial trap and now stood at the edge of the ravine, its gaze locked onto Marcus. Understanding the decisive moment had come, Marcus drew the ancient Glythorian weapon Alara had modified for him. He aimed carefully and fired. A burst of bioelectromagnetic energy surged towards the Chimera commander, enveloping it. The creature screamed. Its armored body shuddered before collapsing into a heap. The ground trembled beneath Marcus as he cautiously approached the fallen commander. Its glowing eyes flickered one last time before dimming completely. Marcus exhaled, feeling the weight lift ever so slightly from his shoulders. "We did it," Alara whispered, stepping beside him. "Yeah," Marcus said, the desert wind chilling his sweat-drenched skin. For now, the team regrouped, their exhausted faces mirroring the relief they felt. They had survived another day, but the threat was far from over. With the Chimera commander defeated, they had a moment to breathe. Yet they knew they couldn't let their guard down. Not in this harsh universe. "We head back, debrief, and prepare," Marcus told his team. "The real challenge is just beginning." The team trudged back to their makeshift camp. The sky was an endless stretch of twilight, with stars beginning to pierce the veil. The haunting beauty of Zagara's barren expanse contrasted sharply with the weight of their recent victory. The silence was punctuated only by the crunch of boots on sand and the distant whisper of winds through jagged rocks. Marcus paused at the edge of the camp, taking a deep breath. His attention shifted to the horizon, ever alert. He felt the weight of his responsibility more deeply with each step. "We need to set up fortifications," Harris said, voicing what they all felt. "If another wave comes, we need to be ready." "Agreed," Marcus replied. "Jenkins, Lee, survey the area and use what we have left to reinforce our perimeter. Harris, oversee the preparations. Dr. Voss and I will review our findings." The team dispersed, moving with a newfound urgency, but also a grim exhaustion. Alara sat down by the remains of their equipment, spreading out fragments of the Glythorian devices they had collected. "These artifacts," she began, her fingers tracing alien inscriptions. "They're more than just weapons. They're pieces of a greater puzzle, a technology that could change everything if we can fully understand it." "So you think we can use this against other threats like the chimeras?" Marcus asked, sitting across from her. "Potentially," Alara said, looking up. "But it's not just about a defense. This technology could propel us forward. A leap in our understanding of biology, energy, even time." Marcus leaned in, his interest piqued. "We need to get this back to command. It's a game changer. But how do we secure it?" "First, we need to send a message. Let command know what we've discovered," Alara suggested. Harris strode over, overhearing the conversation. "Our comms are still down from the initial attack, but I've salvaged some parts. I think I can rig a makeshift transmitter." "Do it," Marcus ordered. "We need to establish a link as soon as possible." As Harris got to work, Marcus and Alara continued to discuss the alien technology's implications. The firelight cast flickering shadows on their faces as the night deepened. "Captain," Jenkins called out, jogging over, "we've set a perimeter, but there's movement to the east. Could be more chimeras." Marcus straightened, his hand instinctively going to his weapon. "Everyone, stay sharp. We can't afford to be caught off guard." Alara stood up, an idea forming in her mind. "If we can adapt the pulse generator to our portable power sources, it might give us an edge." "Can you do it?" Marcus asked, hope glinting in his eyes. "It won't be easy, but it's worth a try," she replied. Hours passed in tense labor. Alara worked on adapting the pulse generator while the rest of the team fortified their position. The movements to the east grew closer, but no direct attack came. It was as if something or someone was observing them. Finally, Alara stood up, holding the modified generator. "It's ready." Just as she spoke, a massive shape emerged from the darkness, the Chimera commander, flanked by a smaller pack. The creature had survived, adapting just like them. "Positions!" Marcus shouted, his voice a rallying cry. The battle erupted, fierce and desperate. But this time, they had a secret weapon. Alara activated the pulse generator, and a wave of energy surged out, disrupting the chimeras. The smaller ones fell immediately, but the commander resisted, its resilience a terrifying testament to its design. Marcus, driven by an unwavering resolve, charged forward. "Cover me!" he barked. The team unleashed a torrent of fire, giving Marcus the opening he needed. He tackled the commander, the energy from the generator pulsating around them. In a final, desperate move, Marcus plunged a Glythorian blade into the creature's core. The Chimera commander shuddered, its form collapsing into the sand. The battlefield fell silent once more. "We did it," Alara said, her voice a mix of awe and exhaustion. "Just the beginning," Marcus replied. "Now we rebuild, we adapt, and we prepare for what's next." The stars shone brighter in the Zagara sky as if heralding a new dawn. The team stood together, a unit forged in battle. They had survived, but their journey was far from over. The universe held many secrets, and they were ready to face them, standing tall against the unknown.